I took a little break, went and called Amy because it's her birthday, and coming up, and I just love my friends. And speaking of friends, wow, this person played one of the most iconic best friends in history, in my humble opinion. Willie Garson. I can't wait to bring him in. So here we go. I mean, I'm just so excited. Yep, I'm that excited, guys. Hi! Can you hear me?
I can.
Oh, I think I have my volume down. See?
I don't know what that means.
I know technology, right?
I know we've learned way more than we needed to. Like in the last 2 months, I'm horrified at the things I know about that I wish I never knew about.
I know. I'm currently writing in my book, and I say to whoever's reading this in 70 years, and you read this book, and I'm a distant memory, you will realize that it's probably not a book now. It's probably been airdropped from heaven because with technology, anything is possible. I mean, it's true.
Well, it's interesting as someone who makes television.
Yeah.
That during this time you realize, like, well, it's all just disposable, isn't it? I mean, it just
Yes,
you
and
know.
I have really have I mean, what I have struggled with is the lighting.
I understand that. It's funny because I'm so phobic of technology, and like I have to learn really how to tape an audition. I,
Yes.
I really don't know how. Like, so I'll do it like this. I do it on my computer, or I do it on my phone and then put it on Dropbox or something. But I have to learn how to. I have to get one of those big square lights with the filter over it
Yep.
that people have, and a tripod and something to hold the camera. I don't know anything about any of it.
You know what? My publicist sent me the setup, so we're just gonna send it to you. Like
Oh,
it's so,
please do.
I
Please
will.
do.
I'm not kidding.
I'll order
No,
everything
no,
and I'll
no.
set it up.
We got it. We're just gonna send it to you. Like it's so simple, and it's
Oh,
if I can put it together, which I did.
don't count on it. I'm unbelievably stupid. Like
Can
it's
I
it's
tell
it's it's amazing how stupid I am. Just
you?
ask my son; he'll tell you every day how stupid I am.
My brother walked over and he saw me with the phone, on the light stand, and he looked at me and he went, "Who put that together?" I said, "I did." He said, "What? You didn't call me?" I said, "No, because I call him for everything.
Right.
He's my 26-year-old brother. Technology is, nothing to him. He's one of those people that can like pick up something, put it
But
together.
hold on a second. How old are you? Like 28? I mean, you're not that old.
I adore you. I'm 31.
Oh, you're so old. Oh my God.
But
You're
no, see,
ancient.
I come from the time of Nokia phones, you
I
know,
I understand.
and dial up.
I come from the time of Morse code. So it's a totally different thing.
Oh my
and
gosh.
and where are you, Nikki Blonsky?
I'm in New York. Where are you?
I've heard of it. Is that in the East?
It is in the east. Sometime the sun sets in the west, I heard. I don't know.
Yes, I'm in
That's
the West.
are you? And I mean, I've seen, a couple of my friends at the LA protests, and just the amount of people is amazing.
It's astonishing. And I think it also looks a lot larger because there's never anyone on the street here.
Yeah.
So it's shocking to see that number of people. We went to a couple. I'm way into it. I'm just too virus freaked out.
Yeah, that's the hard part.
It's really hard. Like that one that they're showing a lot today of like Hollywood Boulevard with like 10 billion people there. It's like I would literally have a stroke and pass out if I was standing in the middle of that crowd, like right now. So,
I went to a protest yesterday in my
yeah.
hometown of Great Neck, and I've never been more proud to be from Great Neck. And I remember we all had masks on, and that was the main thing. As long, we all
Yeah, I
stood like
know, I
6 feet
know.
apart, but it's too much. It's scary,
It's a lot of
try to
people. It's a
focus.
lot of people.
Yeah. Well, I
Now,
heard
were you
that
ever, more importantly, were you ever a waitress at Leonard's? Because that's really all that matters.
no, sadly, no. But I can tell you, I've been to more weddings and bar mitzvahs at that place than growing up in Great Neck, bar mitzvahs were like the biggest thing. I mean,
That's when you got an invitation, like we always thought it was ironically funny to go to an event at Leonard's, but living in Great Neck, when you got an invitation that said Leonard's, were you like, oh, I love it there, or like, oh, that's going to be horrible? Or
I was usually excited. I knew that the valet line was going to be a little long and like the pasta might be a touch dry. But other than that, I knew it would be fine. There would be some decent music. We've had some great parties there, my family and
sure,
I. So, there are
sure.
worse places on Long Island that you can party
I
at.
mean, listen, if they sprung for a chocolate fountain, I'm in. Like, so,
Agreed. It
yeah,
doesn't take much, Mr. Garson.
no, no, very easy to please.
It's the simple pleasures in life for me. Diet peach Snapple.
We didn't spend a lot of time in Long Island. My uncle and cousins lived in Freeport, I
Sure.
think. So we there sometimes, and as an adult, I spent more time because Sarah has a house in the Hamptons. So we would leave work on Saturday morning when the sun came up, and we would drive to the Hamptons, and we would stop somewhere at around 10 a.m. We would stop and have a cocktail to kind of finish our week. And then we get to her house around noon and then sleep until dinner, have dinner, get up Sunday, come back to do it all again at 5 a.m. Sunday, Monday morning call time. So that was our regular thing because it was our one night off. And they were always horrified because they would rent a car for us to have waiting for when rap was. And we insisted on, we were going to drive. And they were always like, oh, we're going to die. This is an insurance problem, whatever. Like, but we're both pretty smart people and
Who
stable.
drove? That's the question, though.
She would drive or I would drive. I think we'd I think we'd split it up depending before or after the cocktail.
Can I tell you that when I met her at Carnegie Hall, we were singing for Mark Shaman and Scott Whitman. They were being honored, and it was just one of those rooms that you go, "How did I get here?"
Right, of course.
And she was there, and it was like I had. It was like I met my fairy godmother.
No.
Like I was just like, I felt like Cinderella at the ball. She is magical.
Well, the generosity and warmth coming out of her is just a delight. A delightful person.
I mean, I've seen all of the Sex in the Cities because you have to understand. This this was my high school. Like
Yeah, you're right. You're right in the target group. Like, of course.
I have to tell you, I've chatted with a lot of people, but today I woke up with a little extra pep in my step. I put a little extra sugar in my coffee
But you
because
got an extra fruit roll, like just to be ready.
whatever it takes to. But I woke up knowing that I was going to chat with you, and I was just raring and ready to go because I have to thank you because that movie came at a time when I really needed to smile and laugh. I was losing my grandmother from dementia, and it was just watching her be ripped away by probably the most degrading of diseases, losing your mind.
Yeah,
It's so painful to watch as a family member, and
yeah.
laughing with you guys. It was just incredible. So thank
It
you.
provided, it provided a lot of escape for a lot of people. It really became prevalent uh, after 9/11, and you could spot the person coming to you from 200 feet away, and you knew the whole story, that they used to watch it together every night with the husband, and he died in Tower One. I mean, like, you could see it coming from 200 feet away,
Yeah.
and it meant so much to bring people together is like kind of, it's kind of not, as you know, it's kind of like not what we go into this to do,
Yes.
but it is certainly becomes a large benefit of doing what we do. And that's an important thing. It's why it was very disappointing at the time, after the election and things starting to go to crap, that we really did want to make the third movie. It was a time that we felt we could be of some service, and that we were not able to. It was like a real bummer, because I think people really, like you say, at certain points in their life, need it.
Yeah.
And it becomes, after that amount of time, it's not, some shows are on for a really long time, like Bonanza or something, but it's not like you're invested emotionally with the guys on the ranch. But these characters, people were really invested in as trusted friends. And that's, so I think it had a more of an emotional pull on people than a lot of different shows that I've been on, certainly.
Well, you just hit my heart, because I grew up watching Bonanza and MASH with my grandfather, and now my mother, that's all she watches. Little Joe is everything. Adam, don't start me. I mean, I can name everybody. I know what they're wearing.
Oh
Joe
my
wears
God.
that green shirt with those almost lavender colored pants. I mean, my mother, it's scary, the details, but sometimes
You got to show up in a cowboy hat. You got to show up at the house and, like, I'm in from the Ponderosa, Ma. Like, I'm here.
one
I'm
day
here for you.
I'm just gonna have my father pull up on a horse and make her dreams come true.
I mean, we're watching. What are you watching along those lines during this time? Like, we're watching Columbo.
Okay.
Sarah actually turned me on. She was like, "Get on to Columbo. The kids love it." And we watched one, and my son, who's old, he's 18, but like, he was like totally engaged. Like, oh, that guy's gonna. Oh, here comes some dark music. Like, they're gonna know what's going on. Like, it's really good. I love Columbo because you kind of know the criminal right at the beginning, and then it's all about Columbo figuring it out, which is awesome.
I think for me, one that I always go back to is, like, I go back to I Dream a Genie for some reason.
Very interesting choice.
I think for me, it's kind of brilliant that she can just escape, because sometimes when you live in a house with your mother, your father, your brother, his dog, you want to imagine that you can jump in a bottle.
Oh, that's interesting. That's
It's
interesting.
awful to think that way. And also, I would like to just, blink my nose, and, or that's Bewitched, but I would just like
But
to.
why did he never, like, why did uh, Captain Healy never say to Jeannie, like, why are you so stupid? We just went through this last episode. Like, you haven't learned anything. Like, I don't know. I just feel like Jeannie was really dumb.
I mean, I look back now at some of the characters in television history, and I say to myself, well, thank goodness at least you didn't play a dull one on your first time out,
I mean, the winner of all, the grand champion of all,
Who?
the Flying Nun.
Oh gosh, yes, Sally Field, of
Have you
course.
ever seen Have you ever seen an episode of The Flying
Oh,
Nun?
absolutely. It's
When
one of my mother's favorites.
her eyes glaze over, and then she tilts the hat, and she starts flying, and then everyone else at the monastery is like,
right?
Like there she, yep, she's flying again. Like I mean, and it's totally normal, like
Right.
in real life. Like why is she flying? Well, it's insane.
If
Like
I were to pitch a network, a show about a flying nun in 2020, I would be looked at every way from Wednesday. Are you kidding?
what's so shocking about that show is that why weren't they then? Like didn't someone in the room go, hold on a second.
Yeah.
She's on the island of Puerto Rico and she flies around. Why? Just so she can get there quicker? Like, I mean, it's insane. Like the whole idea that this happened. Like,
And see, us as creative people, we want a backstory and we want to know how it happened and why we, like, I
there
find
has. I never saw it that episode, but there has to be an episode. There must be,
there has to be. And if there isn't,
right? Where
I feel like
they
we must put in a
decide
poll.
like I need to. I have to research this now.
I know.
Like where when did we find out that Sally Field could fly? I'm more interested if she still can. I think she could revisit it now and fly at 80.
It's Sally Field, so anything is possible. Anything.
It is true because she is
I,
the goddess. She's the best that there is.
you can't count anybody out in this business. I learned, just when I thought I was taking a turn, I was like, I'm coming back. Have you noticed, how have you ridden that wave? I mean, I was just reading, first of all, 75 films. I literally text my assistant and I said, he has goals. That was it.
Here's the thing: as a character actor, you can work a lot. I mean, nothing. It's not like I'm Brad Pitt and I'm carrying the movie on my shoulders. I come in and if the role is interesting, or it's someplace great, or they have money. I mean, if it's no skin off my ass, I'll go and do the 2-day part, and I'll make those residuals for the rest of my life, and I'll have something that might be great. I mean, some of the movies that called, I spent a lot of time meeting on a movie. On like a perfect example, I spent a lot of time meeting on Groundhog Day, which I worked for one day on the movie, but it was an important situation that they'd gotten themselves into, and it was a nerve-wracking situation for them, and they really wanted to be careful. And then I go and do it, and it's nothing. It's not literally an orangutan could have played the part. And then it's a huge movie. It's a huge movie, and then people are like, just like when I do this, when I do like interviews, and people say, "Oh my God," and you were so great in Groundhog Day. And I'm thinking, you just read my credits list. Like you don't know, you don't remember me in Groundhog Day. You're drunk. You sound like you're drunk. So there's a lot of them that are like that, but it's not 75 at this point. It's got to be over 100. I mean, I just do these things. I like to work every day, if I can.
Like I told my ex, keep it moving, sis. Like you gotta keep it moving. You have to go from one. I like to go from one project to another. That's not the ideal. That's not for some people, but for me, I thrive under pressure for some weird reason.
Well, it keeps you in the mode. You're in work mode. It sometimes can be very hard, like Sarah always says, like even learning lines and speaking on a set. It's a muscle. It's a muscle like anything else. If I go three, this is the longest I've gone in a long time without working. I don't know if I can memorize a monologue right now. I haven't tried.
Well, I have to tell you, when I was filming a TV show, I was working with a lot of younger actors, and this was my real opportunity to prove myself in the TV world, I felt. So I took it very seriously, and my personal method is when I go home, I have to at least write out every single line like 10 to 15 times. It's just muscle memory. I was never looked at so strangely. Like I was made to feel like I was doing, like I was committing some, ridiculous crime. I was like, I'm writing out my lines so I'm prepared. Okay. I
And
can't.
I'll bet you're word perfect. And I'll bet those kids are not.
Well, can I tell you? The next day we went to set and I was standing there and I said my line. I knew their line was coming. Do you think they said it? No. So I just said this was the only time I ever did this. After like 3 times, and everybody was just, the lines were all over the place. And you get to a point where you're just like, where's the respect for the work? You know? So I just said to them very nicely, I'm going to go grab a bottle of water, take a tinkle, and when you figure this out, just let me know. Because, it's like, what am I going to do there?
Right.
I know my lines, your lines. But I think that's when you just take your work
It's funny.
seriously.
One of the other actors on White Collar went on to do another show, and he called me and said, God, I miss our show. I mean, the idea that people can show up unprepared and not knowing their lines and not ready to work, like thinking, oh, we'll just figure it out when we're
Nothing blows
there.
my mind more.
No, it's unbelievable. It goes along with the same old adage, which is if you want to hear an actor complain, give them a job. And that whole thing, like, oh, I can't believe I have to work today.
I know, and
Or,
I have an audition.
I mean, it's like, oh wow, like it's a common disease.
The tragedy of it all.
It goes with the pandemic of stupidity that we're facing right now.
Absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
it's between TikTok and the stupidity that I have been seeing is palpable.
My son's friends last night explained to me what TikTok actually is.
Yeah.
And it's basically my son's friend said it perfectly. He goes, it's an app for 12-year-old girls to show off their bodies.
Yep.
Which is horrifying to me. That's probably pretty accurate as to what it is.
And kids call it like they see it. And I have a 13-year-old goddaughter, and I am so proud of her. But she is gorgeous, and her parents are in the business, and she has like the body of a model, and she looks like she's like 18 when she's 13. And
Right.
I mean, she's contributed to my grace because I worry so much because she'll be like, oh, boys, and I'm like, I turn into Edna Turnblad. I can't take it.
Do not watch the Jeffrey Epstein documentary.
No.
Don't watch it. There's a huge warning when you sign on to Netflix. There's a huge warning. This is disturbing. If you're going to be disturbed, do not watch this because it's all 12 and they're interviewing the women now who are adults now, and they're talking about, he said I was beautiful. I'm 12 years old. No one had told me I was beautiful. I didn't know what that meant, but I knew it made me feel good. So I kept coming back. And it's like, Liz, I adopted my son on purpose because he's a boy. Because girls are tough and smart and stuff happens to them. Boys are kind of stupider, so you can kind of mold them a little bit.
Well, can I tell you, I'm writing a book finally because I've just had to get my story out, and I wanted to make use of my quarantine time. And in the book, I talk about the difference between, having friends that are women and friends that are men, and how it's just mind-blowingly different. But I also talk about, so many things, and how I want to just leave this world in a better place for my goddaughter because it's scary who is out there. And I also go into talk about my personal experience with domestic violence, and I know what it's like to be on a set and looked at, and I've had a couple of Me Too experiences, and I'm not out there trying to take anybody down because that's not my style. But what I will say is it's very real, and as a godmother to a 13-year-old, I am just determined to do whatever I can, to make sure that everything just stays innocent for her as long as possible.
Yeah, of course, of course, of course. I don't mind even when people get older into adolescence and beyond. And like, my son says, "You're such a child." I said, "I hope I am. I hope I stay it. I want to be as innocent as I can. I'm going to be, I'm in my 50s. Like I'm still innocent. So
You have to stay a child at heart. You have to, there are even things like occasionally I'll do things like last night. I was writing and I said, I need to go back to my childhood because that's what I was writing about. And I just started playing Mary Poppins. I needed it. I needed to hear Julie Andrews.
okay, will you sing A Spoonful of Sugar for me right now? Go.
Of course. A spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down, the medicine go down, the medicine go down. Yes, a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down in the most delightful way.
Wow. Well, it's almost everything I hate about musicals in one thing. Like,
Yes.
fantastic.
Anybody who hates musicals, you just experienced like probably some type of setback because Tracy Turnblad just sang Mary Poppins. So,
Did you see Mary Poppins on Broadway when it
of
was
course,
redone?
like about 4 times, I couldn't
Yeah,
get it.
so we sit in the audience, and then she comes flying over the audience basically, and Nathan, my son, is like, her skirt, we're looking up her skirt, like her literally just right over her head. It's like I feel dirty like looking at Mary Poppins right now.
I know, I know.
That's
That
a boy.
movie.
That's a boy's take on it, by the way. Just so you know, that's a boy's take on it.
Well, what was the movie that you grew up watching that like really,
It'd probably be Willy Wonka
oh gosh.
or Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Those were my two probably top ones that I saw many, many, many times, and the songs were amazing, and I didn't care about Dick Van Dyke's accent being the worst possible accent ever. I love both those movies. I love them.
Yeah,
I love
sometimes you
them.
just have to overlook certain things just to get the
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's performances in Willy Wonka that are just terrible,
oh
but it doesn't matter. And there's like a whole. It's also pretty um, subversive, so it made you feel a little bit grown up watching it.
yes.
Oh, there's the bad guy, and he's whispering to the kids, and it's all evil, and whatever. It's interesting.
Do you want to hear an awful story?
Please, it's my dream.
I mean, in high school, I used to have a friend named Noelle. And ironically, now I work part time with her brother at Starbucks because I needed insurance and an actress has got to do what she's got to do.
Sure.
So now, ironically, I work with my old best friend's younger brother. And this girl was petrified of Willy Wonka and petrified it was the Oompa Loompas. So I said to her, you do realize, though, that your best friend is 4'10". She had this thing she was like petrified of Oompa Loompas. So I used to torture her. And she also was very afraid of like the Wizard of Oz. I think she had a thing for like littler people. So I said to her, I used to leave her phone messages and I used to go, we represent the lollipop
Oh
guild.
my God.
I mean,
Yeah.
it was awful.
Drive her into a padded room.
Yeah.
What about she should watch what's that movie with all little people? Time Bandits.
Oh gosh.
Because they steal time. I mean, that movie is like little people are evil. It's basically the theme of that movie.
Maybe that should be the title of my book. I don't know, because I
Little
think,
people are evil.
yes, because after this book comes out, I think some people are going to have that opinion.
Oh
But
my God.
uh,
I was with Ricky Lake on Saturday night virtually online. So I'm having a hairspray week, and I spoke to Mark Shaman earlier in the week. So
well, he just posted that gorgeous video of my friend Alex Newell singing "I Know Where I've Been,"
uh,
and
the stuff he's been posting has been amazing, amazing. Um, it is true. Like this is a time when we can discover how important the arts are to uplifting people, and it's a great thing. It really can lift your spirits, not as a solution, but as an inspiration to carry on in action, inspiration to action.
well, I feel like the arts are also such a community that is so inclusive. You know,
Yeah,
they, now you see more and more in scripts being written characters for different types of people. I mean, hello, hi, so
yep,
that's incredibly inspiring as, an actress in 2020 to know that, it's not just about what it used to be about.
right. Well, it's also very important that people understand. I've been doing a lot of stuff like raising money for the Actors Fund or the SAG Foundation, and it's important that people realize they think, oh, those people in entertainment, they're so rich and whatever, and it's like there's hundreds of thousands of people employed. I think there was a point when entertainment was the second or third largest export of the United States. Um, and what people don't understand, because it's hard to wrap your head around it when you worked at a factory and it's closed because of the virus, but our business is over right now. Like, it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And there's hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people affected by that. Some of us are lucky enough that we're going to make it through okay. But I have countless people that I know who are, they're never going back. They're never going back to this business.
Yeah. You,
Writers who people think of, oh, well, they're smart, whatever. Writers on television who've been working for 30 years, but not consistently, and truly living paycheck to paycheck. And now it's been 4 months, and it's not going to happen overnight. They just go back to work and make a fortune.
well, are you on Cameo?
I am.
Because I'm on Cameo, and I'm so proud to say I just got an alert earlier. I had emailed
Oh,
Stephen Galanis, who is the CEO, because he's been on my podcast, and I emailed him, when the protest started, and I said to him, "Is there a way that I can donate a portion of my proceeds to, for the whole month?" So what we did now, I just found out in the past 2 days, Cameo alone has, between all the celebrities on it that are giving, for 2 days, I think we gave all of my proceeds and other people's $225,000 to the NAACP.
yeah, I just got that. I
225,000.
just got that email
Yeah.
from him, and I clicked to donate my weekend. And I generally do about 50% of all of mine to something, one of
Yeah.
my charities, but this weekend was 100% to the NAACP fund, and it was great. I didn't, honestly, to be honest, I didn't get as many bookings as I wish I had gotten this weekend.
Yeah.
So I'll make it up another time. I mean, Mother's Day was crazy.
Oh, and of course of course, Sex and the City. It's like every mother.
Yeah, Mother's Day was crazy. Not so much
It's a national
graduation.
holiday for you guys.
I did a lot of graduations, more for white collar than for Sex and the City. But Mother's Day weekend was crazy. I mean, I was doing 30, 40 a day, which
Yes.
is insane.
I think the
Um,
most I've done in a day, I was out with my buddy Chad Lindbergh, and I said, I gotta go home to do some cameos. And he goes, how many are you going to do? And he was the one that referred me to cameos. So I said, um, 63. He goes, what? And I sing in all
amazing.
of them. I will not
Oh,
sing.
that's very sweet. I like when they send you, sometimes she sends me videos of people getting it.
The reaction are
The best.
amazing.
It's the best. It's the best. Because I don't price myself that high,
Me either.
so
I
it's
won't.
accessible to people. Because I mean, really, is it really any skin off my butt if I spend an extra 5 minutes
Well,
doing it?
also, I see certain people on there, and I'm just like, what could you possibly have to say that I'm going to spend
Oh
two
my God,
thousand dollars of my rent money on?
some people have a price of like $300, and I'm thinking, how many are they getting
Yeah,
at that price, and why do if they don't want to do it? But the real thinking behind that is like, well, if I can get people to pay me that, I'll take it, and that makes me a little nauseous. So
yeah.
I,
I
I
just my reasoning was I want to be able to reach all my fans because I know I have young ones, and
yeah,
and I get a lot of. I mean, it's been a great platform because I've been part of people's weddings. I've asked people to
yeah, it's
marry
great.
other people. It's been
That's
so
great.
cool.
My fans are elderly, and
Well, then, my
and,
God, I must be Sophia from the Golden Girls then.
and they don't actually know they've requested. Okay. There was a woman. I'm not making this up, and hopefully she doesn't watch your podcast. Okay, so there's a woman who bought a lunch with me for a charity that I work with. So I do that for them every year. Whatever, they auction off a lunch,
Right.
and then thankfully they send someone from the charity comes with me to the
Oh,
lunch.
okay. A
So
buffer.
yeah, a buffer, a needed, much needed buffer sometimes.
Yes.
This woman shows up, and I'm not being like egotistical or anything about it. I was just like, I'm not sure she knew who I was. Like it seemed like a mistake that she had bought the lunch, and so the woman from the charity goes, so you're a pretty big fan, huh? And she's like, no, not so much. And oh, what show do you like? I don't watch TV. Like it kept on going on like that, and it was crazy. I thought, oh, she has maybe a condition like a one of those internet spending people.
Yes. Yes. Like the online gambling.
Yes,
Can't help themselves.
that's what it felt like. It felt like, oh, we're dealing with a larger issue here, other than her not enjoying my incredible work. Like,
Right.
this is
This
something.
this was a purchase of,
Yeah, 3 in the morning. I gotta buy something.
yes, I have had one of those experiences as well. The person was not a big musical fan. So I said, okay, well then what would we like to talk about the course of the union, anything, Bob Saget, I don't know anything at this point. I was grasping for
Oh,
straws. It was painful, and I could have used a chocolate fountain. It goes back to the chocolate fountain.
well, you can always listen. If I lived in Great Neck, every time I drove by Leonard's, I would knock on the door and say, "Hey, just between you and me, do you happen to have a chocolate fountain running right now?" I would even bring like my own marshmallow if I had to.
Yes. Well, why not? Can I tell you what happened yesterday? I'm protesting,
Please.
and of course, I have the bladder of a pig, so I have to go to the bathroom. I go to the pizzeria that has served me my entire life. They wouldn't let me pee. I was outraged. I was like, what? So I was like, okay, go to the Ralph's Italian. I says, no, okay. Dollar Tree's broken. I'm like,
Oh,
now I'm standing at Jenny Craig. And I've never wanted to go into a Jenny Craig more in my life. I've never been so
interesting.
ready. I was like, okay, I get it. All right. So I'm standing out there, and this woman opens the door. She goes, "Are you?" And I thought she was saying, "Are you protesting?" And I said, "Yes, I am." And she goes, and I was like, that's not a bad thing." And she goes, "No, no, 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 you're you." And I said, "Yeah." And I did. I had no makeup on, hair like this.
Right, right.
And I go, "I am me, and I have to pee." And she goes, "I'll let you in." She ended up knowing my mother. She said, "I'm letting you in because I know Karen Blonsky." I said, "Well, that woman has saved my ass more times than you can imagine." So I went in there, peed, changed my shirt, I was like, "All right, that's great." I come out, she says to me, um, "I know this is awful, but in exchange for the bathroom, will you please sing 'You Can't Stop the Beat' and let me videotape it?" I said, "Absolutely."
Amazing.
I did. And then she proceeded to take me in the back room and give me snacks. Yeah. And, their
Amazing.
popcorn is pretty good, the white cheddar. I wasn't disappointed.
You know, I was reading this morning about how to prepare for a protest, and one of the major things is don't drink any water
Really?
before the protest
Oh, yeah.
because you're going to have to pee. Unless you, I mean, it's easier for boys. Boys can always find a place to pee, but women it's harder. And I don't think we should be protesting and peeing all over our neighborhoods anyway. So.
No, what people are going to start doing is they're going to start resorting to the New Year's Eve in Times Square thing where they wear diapers. When I heard that, Willie, look, I am going to use my youth. I don't want to be in a diaper until I have to be.
Well, there's also no reason to be in Times Square for New Year's Eve.
No,
Like that,
unless
that
you're
also it
fun.
sounds like a horror to me. Um, Apparently, there is a rather important public figure who wears a diaper quite often. Apparently,
Ay, ay,
um,
ay. It's scary.
so there you have it.
That's, I'm not, if I'm going to CVS, which is like my favorite place in the world, by the
It's
way,
the best.
I have such a compulsion. If I show you my entire bag of makeup, it's just all CVS makeup. That's all it is.
Well, I just love the whole experience. There used to be it was a Rexall. There used to be a Rexall Dart Square in Los Angeles on La Cienega and Beverly. So it was huge and it was in like a fancy neighborhood. So it had like really, the absolute nicest stuff. And Sarah lived not far from there. And we used to joke if we ever got married, we would be registered at Rexall Dart Square because there's nothing in the store that we don't want.
Well, can I just tell you that I have my own personal Stanford Blatch? I have Gino Murphy. He has been my best friend of 17 years. He lives in Harlem with his husband and their dog, the Dowager Countess Alexis Cora Murfowitz. I call her the third because at this point, why not just tag something else onto the name? And
Sure.
but when you have one of those best friends, you know, I find anything is possible. So when I watch that movie and your character, I mean, it just screams Gino and I's
Well,
adventures.
it was very special because we had been friends for a really long time before the show.
Yeah,
So it was like the stuff that we got away with on screen. I think I think you feel the friendship
of course.
more than if it was just some actors that were hired that happened to be playing these parts. So it worked out really nicely. Like, she'd reach over and slap my bald head or something, like, which isn't something she would probably just do with some other actor.
Right.
Um, and things from our life. Sarah always liked to laugh before every take. So she'd be like, tell me a joke or like right before we roll, or like do George Jefferson. That was always her favorite. Do George Jefferson right now. And I'd say, Weezy, I'm coming to get you. And she'd like burst out laughing and we start to see it. So like things like that you develop over a lifetime together that doesn't always translate to screen.
But it's also those friendships that that are going to last forever, too.
Yes.
I look at Gino and I go, he could go out and he could do anything. I'm gonna find a way to bail him out. You know, that's my person. He's very much my soulmate. I feel like he was put here for me, and I was put here for him. And when you have a friendship like that, he's very much the Jack to my Karen.
Nice. That's nice.
Yes, I mean, but we've all been just big fans of yours here in the Blonsky household and in my world forever. And I just thank you so much because I was just reading and Yale and my God, just you're awesome. I just
That's very sweet. I'm a survivor, if nothing else. I'm a survivor. So that's what I do.
well, you have to be. I've learned,
I just go on. You just go on. I endure.
you know, these shoulders are little, but they can take a lot.
There you go.
Well, Willie Garson, I adore you, and I can't wait to watch you more on the quarantine show that we're on together.
Oh, well, I only did one, I
Me too,
think.
but I'm just saying we're
And
gonna
I think they're ending up and they have the great guy, Randy Rainbow, they have on this
do
week, which is
great.
kind of amazing. I think Randy Rainbow plays Marty's new agent or something during quarantine.
Well,
Yeah,
I love that, and I love that so many people in the entertainment business are doing the right thing right now. So
right
thank
on.
you, and I adore you.
Oh, thank you, Nikki. This was really sweet. Thanks for asking me to come and
Thank
be with you. It's an honor.
Oh, it's an honor for me. Stay well.
All right. Bye bye. Be good.
You too. Gosh, my cheeks are literally like they're hurting, and it's hot, and like I'm just you guys. He's wonderful. I mean, Sex in the City for me, but also he's a quality actor. Like just so many of his roles, white collar and just so sweet. And just to hear about his friendship with Sarah and, tell him about my Gino. Gee, this one's for you, bud. Because you have been my rock through it all. Very much my Stanford. So thank you, Willie. Thank you for shining the light that you put out into this world. And thank you for your stories and for the laughs and for Bonanza and the Flying Nun. And you're wonderful, you guys. I love doing this podcast. It is so much fun. Every day is a new adventure. And I can't wait to take the twists and turns with you. So see you tomorrow for more Nikki Nights. Bye.